Thomas. Welcome, everybody, to Dolphins Central Radio. I am your host, Thomas Galicia, joined by my co-host, Christopher Cochran. Chris, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just right now enjoying the Heat game right now, like kickoff of the NBA. Watching that while talking Dolphins.
Yeah, definitely, and it's looking like a good game right now, but we are not going to discuss it because this is Dolphin Central Radio,
exactly.
Not Central Radio. And one of the things that I've learned, especially in the past couple years, is that not all Dolphins fans like the Heat.
No, that is actually very true. Not a lot of people like the Heat in general, but as we digress.
Yeah, that's another story for another time and that's an entire whole other jag I can go off on. But let's talk about the more beloved of the two teams outside of South Florida, and that is the Dolphins. They defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars by the final score of 27-13 on Sunday. So what did you take away from that game, and was it the same thing that I took away and the same thing that you wound up texting to me?
The offense was horrendous.
Oh, God, yes.
It was a mixture of the Dolphins' defense was a bend not break type defense. They'll give up yards, and I kept thinking about this more and more. You know, the Dolphins' offense it could not move the ball, which in return forced them to punt. You know, and after a while, it just turns into a field position game where at one point, Jacksonville's getting the ball at the 40-yard line, at Jacksonville's 40-yard line, which you go 20 yards, 25 yards, you're in field goal range.
Exactly, and that was all they were able to get, though, because while, yes, the Dolphins' defense allowed a lot of yards to Denard Robinson, they allowed a lot of yards to Blake Bortles passing, and everyone can see us looking at our TVs. I'm turning mine off. It's halftime anyways. Even though they allowed Denard Robinson a lot of yards, I believe it was like 104 by my count. Even though they allowed Blake Bortles to pretty much throw it wherever he wanted to, the good news is the Dolphins defenders were wherever Bortles wanted to be. So, Louis Dumas was at one place where Blake Bortles wanted to throw the ball.
Brent Grimes was.
Brent Grimes was, yes. And that was pretty much what kept the Dolphins in the lead. The Dolphins never trailed on Sunday.
No, it was
as hard as that is to believe.
Miserable to watch. It was just miserable to watch.
It was miserable to watch because it wasn't pretty. And at the same time, it wasn't pretty. You're going to get the argument that, oh, well, good teams are the teams that, don't always have to win pretty. Well, here's the thing. To me, any win is a pretty win. But if there was a such thing as a god-awfully ugly game, that was one.
Yeah, and Mike Wallace had his comments this week, about the Dolphins, and I agree with him on how the offense is just trash. Like, it's not. I mean, I'm probably saying it too strong, but it's not a good offense, and it's better than last year's offense, but that's not saying much. It's still a below average offense, and so you're watching it, and you see how bad of you see that it's not a good offense. Like, it's obvious. It's a two-half offense. It's a second-half offense.
Yeah, it is a two-half offense. Actually, the way I like to look at this offense is like this. That offense is a jack of all trades but cannot master a single thing. They can run the ball, just not too well.
They won't out-physical you.
Yeah. They can pass, just not too well. Tannehill will hit Wallace deep once in their first 6 games. We'll have to wait until week 13 probably for the next time they connect deep.
Tannehill will run the ball for 30 yards, but you're not going to rely on that.
No, it's adequate. Not even.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm watching. It's just, if the Dolphins play against a good team,
which they will be doing on Sunday.
Yes. Yeah, just an average. I'm not even talking San Diego. I think if they played the Jets, the game would be closer. Just because of the defense that the Jets have.
Yeah, you have a good point. I'm already not looking forward to those two 9-6, 6-3 ball games that those two teams are going to play later this season.
And so just watching them, it's the same team, man. It's inconsistent. I'm tired of seeing them go one half of crappy football and the other half good football. Like we know what you are now. You're just an inconsistent team that your defense is good enough to keep you win games and to possibly win a game. I think we're getting a better idea each game that's taking place. I think we're getting a better idea of what Tannehill is.
Yeah, and that is just an inconsistent quarterback who will
Yeah,
show flashes and who he will tease you, but is he ever going to get over the hump? No.
he'll give you. Yeah, he'll make some plays where you're like, wow, we can never give up on this guy. But then he'll throw a pick. He'll throw the one touch, the one incomplete pass. I think it was Rashard Matthews, correct? It was one of
The
them. It was he. It was a fourth. Was it fourth down?
Which player are you referring to?
It was in the end zone. Basically, he should have nailed. He should have hit him. He should have hit him. He was wide open in the end zone, and I think he threw it over him or something like that.
Yes, yes, that was on fourth down late in the fourth quarter. I don't know if it was on fourth down or it was on third down, and they just settled for the field goal. But I remember what you're talking about. I was very disappointed in that one. I was also a little bit disappointed in the tip pass, even though I said tip passes are kind of bad luck because Bortles had a few tip passes that landed in Jaguars' arms.
Yeah,
But and I even said I didn't disagree with Bill Lazor's play call. I actually thought that the Dolphins coaches did a fine job on Sunday. As hard as that is to believe, because I never compliment the coaches. But I thought on Sunday they were pushing the right buttons. They were doing all right.
well, what they were doing was they were rotating. The D line was being rotated heavily with Cam Wake and Vernon, and then Shelby, and then and with Vern. I mean with Jordan. But I mean, it's one of those things where we know what we're gonna get from the defense.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'll have the occasional bend not break game, but you know what? They'll still get to the quarterback. Uh, I don't think the defense will be as good on Sunday because mainly Phillip Rivers can get rid of the ball fast.
yeah,
Uh, you know, I'm but like, I think we know what this team is now, and it's 6-7 weeks into the season. I feel confident knowing what this team is, and I expect they're gonna keep the games close. It's gonna if it's gonna be against a good team, it's gonna be within a touchdown or two a game, a touchdown or 10 points, and that's it. That's gonna be that team.
yeah. That is what that team is. Pretty, you know, mediocre, not good enough for the playoffs, but at the same time, they're going to keep it interesting. The AFC is a lot stronger this year than I thought it would be.
No, yeah,
So I really think if the Dolphins lose to San Diego, even though they're only going to be knocked down to 500, it will be a devastating enough loss that they're out of the playoff chase unless
yeah,
they really want to run. And I just can't see that, especially when you look at their November schedule.
San Diego. You
San
got
Diego,
San Diego, Detroit.
Buffalo, and Denver.
Yeah. And one thing I'm kind of getting annoyed of is hearing that this Dolphin team has talent. Like, if this team had talent, Brian
They
Hartline
have talent.
but
Brian
if
Hartline
they
would
had,
not be a number two receiver, which he shouldn't.
or Brian Hartline would be playing good. Like it's one of those things. Like if they had talent, he would be playing. He would be playing consistent. He would be doing what he normally does. Like, I have no problem with Brian Hartline. Like, I thought he's been great for the past. He's been good the past couple of years. Like, he's reliable. You could rely on him. He's not gonna do nothing crazy. But you know what? I feel confident if I need 7 yards, he can run a quick 7-yard post, and it's gonna be a first down.
Yeah, but he can't even do that anymore.
Exactly. That's my point. Is like
Now he's not even catching the ball. Now he's just running the 7 yards. He's still falling, but he's not catching the ball anymore.
yeah, and we're hearing that this team has talent just on the coaches and then to execute. But like, I feel like we get all this stuff confused when we say like, if they were good, they would execute.
If they were good, they were execute, and if the game plans were good, the talent would not matter as much. The problem is, and Dolphins fans cannot do this. I don't know why they can't do this when this is the way that it is. This is a team that has talent in spots. Defensive line, talent is high.
Offensive line, it's
Offensive line,
above average.
above average. Running backs, average. Wide
Defense.
receivers, you have, pretty much average. Quarterback, somewhere between below average and average. Really, the offense as a whole, pretty average.
And it shows. The numbers show.
Yes. And then on defense, defensive line, yeah, great. Linebackers, they're playing above themselves right now, but pretty below average. The secondary, who last year played above themselves, other than Brent Grimes, pretty average.
Mm-hmm.
Average team.
And and we just kind of we just place these expectations on what we're gonna expect when like no, like this is what they are. Like if these players were good, they wouldn't be playing like this.
Average team, average coach, average. Just everything about the Dolphins screams average. And everyone's just looking for a scapegoat and this and that. I'm tired of scapegoats. Just get it done. Get talented players.
Yeah, and and that's just kind of I think that's what we know what that team is now, and you're gonna expect games like this. They play a crappy team, that they'll be in the game, but then they'll eventually pull away, whether it's the defense or the offense. Like it's and people. There's one thing also, people forget that football games are 60 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like we're so judgmental and so knee jerk off of like one play or a series that we kind of like look at that one series in a nutshell and forget that there's 45 more minutes or 50 minutes left in the game. Like I mean, stuff happens in football games. Teams drive, teams teams have bad drives. Like it just happens, man. And I don't know what we thought that a good defense should look like.
To me, a good defense should look like this. Are you allowing more points than your offense is scoring? Well, that doesn't tell the whole story, obviously. But the other part of the story is, how many points are you allowing? How many yards are you allowing? It's a combination of the two. And I mean, the Dolphins allowed a lot of yards on a lot of yards on Sunday. Didn't allow too many points. There's going to be games where it's going to be the opposite, by the way.
Where the offense could score and the defense can't do anything. Like you're hoping the offense shows up against Denver and San Diego.
Yeah, definitely. Well, as we get to San Diego, the game's going to be in Miami, and the Dolphins do have an advantage. It's a 1:00 game.
Yeah, it's a 1:00 game. We kind of know how this narrative works, where a team from the West Coast comes over to the East Coast and plays that 1:00 game, and we think it affects them. Some people think it does, some people think it doesn't.
These are professional athletes, and their body clock is going to be at 10 in the morning, and these are people that usually wake up at 6. Therefore, no, their body's not going to affect them.
No, and you know what? This is one thing. Unless these players are coming to the game hungover.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they're going to lose their ability to catch the ball, or it's not like Phillip Rivers' release is going to get slower.
Exactly. What happens is, I even looked up the studies on this, and the teams that they looked at were mainly obviously the Western divisions of both the conferences in the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, up until recently, Peyton got to Denver and San Diego got rid of Norv, the AFC West had not been a good division for a while.
Yeah.
And then the NFC West, I mean, which now we take for granted as it's the best division in the NFL, although that could be in doubt right now. We take that for granted now, but remember, it was only a few years ago when 7-9 won that division. Those were just bad teams when they were doing those studies. So, of course, they're going to travel out east to play better teams and do better. I bet you if the balance of power was more out west, which right now it looks like it is,
mm-hmm.
and you study the East Coast teams going west, you would see the same thing.
Yeah. Now, if you made the argument to me that basically the heat or the temperature gets to them, basically South Florida humidity, then you know what? Then I could agree with you. Then you know what? I would be more willing to accept that argument.
Well, here's the thing. I was sort of hoping, I was sort of counting on that. I was sort of hoping that Sunday would be, one of those hot and humid days. But I've got some bad news for the Dolphins. Are you ready?
No, it's beautiful. It's been beautiful here for the past week and a half.
It's been beautiful here for the past week and a half. And Sunday afternoon, game time temperature, 75 degrees.
Yeah.
Which San Diego calls every day.
Yeah, it's you live down here. I live down here. The weather's been amazing. It's been beautiful. It's why people move down here.
Yes. So, any home field advantage that the Dolphins might have that I thought they would have, no, that's going out the window.
Yeah, But anyway, let me ask you this, though. How do you feel about, obviously, we know what Phillip Rivers is. Like, he's playing amazing right now. MVP
Yes.
like. We know how Keenan Allen is. He's getting the catches, but he's not getting the touchdowns. We know what Antonio Gates is like. Who do you see covering Antonio Gates now?
It should be either Deion Jordan or Chris McCain. But you know
You
how
would think so. You would think so,
yeah,
man.
but you know it's going to be Philip Wheeler somehow, some way, or they'll put Rashad Jones on him, which is like, I have my misgivings. I think you're going to see a plethora of people on him, in much the same way that you're going to see Brent Grimes on defense. He's going to, one play he'll cover Keenan Allen, another play he'll cover Malcolm Floyd, another play, he'll cover Eddie Royal. So,
Honestly, just get to Philip Rivers somehow, some way.
yeah, get to Philip Rivers. One play that does scare me is Brandon Oliver.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you've seen what he's been able to do. Now, he didn't have such a great game on Thursday night. Oh, that's the other thing, by the way. The Chargers are going to have an extra 3 days of rest.
Yeah, because they played last Thursday.
Yeah, they played Thursday, so it's like a mini bye week. Anyways, Oliver didn't do so well last Thursday night, but this season he's sort of getting the Darren Sproles comparison, and based off of what I've seen from him, that comparison fits. And Darren Sproles type running backs bother the Dolphins. Think about what we saw with Denard Robinson last week.
Well, the running backs that bother Miami are the quick, scatty ones.
Oliver is a quick, scatty one.
Yeah, it's those guys that
The Dolphins
bother.
defense look like, and those type of running backs also make the Dolphins defense look like scat.
Yeah, and you're not don't expect Miami to call like the forced turnovers because San Diego does not turn the ball over. I mean, they're smart with what they do, and but I don't know who's gonna win. I really don't. I think the game's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be a close game.
I really don't know who's going to win either, so I'm going to. Yeah, it's going to be it's a coin flip type of game. So.
Are you gonna flip a coin right now?
Yeah, I'm actually going to flip a coin right now.
Okay. This is odd. This is awesome. This is awesome. Right. Dolphin Central Radio right now.
And it's a dime. It's a dime.
Okay.
So here's a dime.
Can I call it in the air? Heads.
Well, I already have it figured out. Heads it's Dolphins, tails it's Chargers.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, if you want to call it in the air to predict your score, I don't know how that would work, but let's see how this works.
Tails Chargers win.
Yeah. Oh. Can you see?
What is that? A tails?
Yep.
Chargers. So all right. So our prediction is Chargers are winning.
Yeah, Chargers. We both agree Chargers are winning, and I'm going to go with Chargers winning by the final score of 27-23.
Yeah, 24-21.
Yeah, it feels.
It won't be a crazy game. It'll be the game will be fun.
Yes, it will. It will. It's always fun when the Dolphins and the Chargers play each other. That's been the rule for the last 30 years. Keep in mind, the Chargers have not won in Miami since 1982.
Yeah, if you want to use that stat for your argument.
Not that that matters.
Those are my favorite stats, though. My favorite stats are teams coming off a bye week, or like Andy Reid off a bye week has like 2 losses, and then teams coming over from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then the history of a team traveling to a city, as if that is any indication on why they will lose, because continuity lasts 12 years.
Oh wait, no, don't forget the weather argument with warm weather teams going into cold weather locales, because they don't draft, because the warm weather teams only draft from the south.
Yes. And they don't have technology now. They don't have equipment technology that is.
Because the Dolphins and the Buccaneers will never draft from the Big Ten,
Mm-hmm. Well, they'll just never win in the North.
What?
They'll never win in the North like they did against Pittsburgh last year in snow.
Yeah. Supposedly, the Dolphins don't win in snow, even though I've seen them win quite a few games in snow. Whatever. Stupid stats. Though the one stat that I do know is 4-3, about to become 4-4, unfortunately, but that's our average football team.
Yes, and it doesn't. It's not going to shock me, man.
Yeah. Well, next week I'm going to try to get a special guest on the show, and we're going to do our mid-season awards, because it's going to be mid-season. It's going to be the 8th game. So.
Oh God, it's been that fast?
Yeah, it's been that fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So for Christopher Cochran, where can we follow you?
Cochran 1043.
All right, and you can follow me on Twitter at Thomas Galisi. I'm also on Bleacher Report, and also I participate on Reddit's Miami Dolphins board now. You can find my post under Thomas Galisi 13 if you dare want to go the Reddit route. I'm actually a lot worse on Reddit. I kind of let my fanboy come out, but shh.
That's okay. It's okay. I don't, you know what? I'm okay with fandom coming out of people.
Yeah, no, I try not to I try not to do that with Bleacher Report. And I try not to do that on here, but I do that on Reddit.
Well, you can do it, just don't do it in work. Like, don't do it like if you're ever covering a game. But
No, but I always want to be like Bill Simmons.
yes.
Good night. Good night, everybody.